So, with the news of the soon to be coming new Alice Cooper group album, The Revenge of Alice Cooper, right, which is reuniting the surviving members of the original Alice Cooper group. We've got the Black Mamba, the song has just been released. Everybody's kind of talking about, wow, the reuniting of these classic members coming together for a new record. We've had some recordings of them on the last couple albums. They've gotten, Alice has gotten the guys back together. Michael Bruce, Dennis Dunaway, and Neil Smith, of course. Glenn Buxton left us quite a long time ago, but everybody's talking about it. And I'm very much looking forward to this new album because I think I like Black Mamba enough, and I think that it kind of gives you a little taste of probably what we can expect. But more importantly, it makes me think about what a really great band that was back in the day. And of course, they kind of burst on the scene in, what was it, 1970, right? 1969 on Pretty's For You, which, it's on Frank Zappa's Straight Records, and it's not very good, I don't think. Some people really like the early stuff, right? It's very kind of garagey, psychedelic, kind of glammy, right? I'm not a huge fan of this album. I think they were still trying to figure things out. Of course, they came back with Easy Action a year later in 1970. And I think here is where the seeds are starting to happen. I think this album is a improvement on Pretty's For You. But what comes next for me is arguably one of the great, I don't know if I'm going to say the greatest, because we've got a lot of great 4-album runs, but it's one of the great 4-album runs in all of rock history, starting with Love It to Death here in 1971. That's going to be the kind of theme of this show here today, this little episode, is to really talk about this 4-album run from the Alice Cooper group. And, I'm not going to include Muscle of Love. And while I think Muscle of Love is pretty solid, I don't think it's the classic that these other ones are. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about why this run is so good here. And it starts off, first of all, they begin working with a guy named Bob Ezrin. Right, so on this album, you got both Jack Richardson and Bob Ezrin working together to help the band put this together. And this is kind of where I think they start to move a little bit away from that very psychedelic garage rock type of thing that was going on the first 2 albums to here becoming much, much more of this kind of like gothic hard rock band who could do lots of different things, right? They could do like show tunes, and they could do a little pop. They could do kind of like this proto-metal thing. There's hard rock. There's all this stuff going on here. Tracks like, and the anthems, right? Anthems everywhere. Caught in a Dream, I'm 18 was a big hit, and then you got like the darker stuff like Black Juju, Hallowed Be Thy Name, Is It My Body, Ballad of Dwight Fry, you got the Fun Sunrise, right? I mean, there's all this kind of cool stuff on here. And I like the production of these early albums as well. Even though it's like Martin Popoff and I did recently when we did the Bob Ezrin show, it's kind of cardboardy, right? But I think it works for this band. And, there's great guitar riffs on here, great solos. Alice is really getting into that kind of persona from a vocal perspective, and just a really, really tight band who knows how to come up with really catchy songs. Long Way to Go, so good. And most of these songs are 2-3 minutes long, right? You have a couple longer ones on here, like Ballad of Dwight Fry and Black Juju, but for the most part, everything is just short, compact, anthemic, very, very memorable. I mean, I often cite this as my favorite Alice Cooper album. It's up there. I mean, sometimes I pick it, a lot of times I pick this, right? Which came out later that same year, right? They were on fire here. This is killer. Again, Jack Richardson working with Bob Ezrin doing most of this stuff in the studio, but Jack was basically looking more like an executive producer, kind of overseeing everything. But, here, again, taking that concept from Love It to Death and going even further with it, you could arguably say there's even better songs on here, right? Under My Wheels, terrific, just old school rock and roll, right? Just so good. Be My Lover, terrific. You got the wonderful Halo of Flies, Desperado. I mean, you really can't beat this track listing. Desperado is just amazing. You Drive Me Nervous, frantic stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, that's right. We got the yeah, 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 yeah thing in the in the chorus of Black Mama, right? You got to go all the way back and kind of started way back here. And then, of course, Dead Babies and Killer. To me, I love the kind of more, the heavier, the gothic, kind of creepy Alice Cooper group stuff just as much as I like the more upbeat, stuff, more positive stuff. Great album. Really, really great album. And it doesn't stop there, right? So probably out of this classic four, this is probably my least favorite of the three, but it's still really good. This is School's Out, which came out in June 1972. Again, same deal, right? You got Ezrin working with them again. Of course, you got the Titanic title track, which kicks things off. This album, though, I think has more variety and more different type of stuff, and I would argue it probably doesn't kind of play into that kind of gothic heavy rock thing, the more the creepier kind of vibe that you get on the two previous albums. This is more of kind of like a rock album mixed in with kind of like all these different influences. There's pop on here, there's kind of like the show tunes thing in here, Looney Tune is on here, Gutter Cat versus the Jets, Street Fight, Blue Turk is a great song, right? Public Animal number 9, terrific track, Alma Mater and Grand Finale, right? There's definitely lots of variety on this particular record. But a lot of people from a production standpoint, a lot of people like this the best out of all of these. Depends on what you like, right? And the 4-album run for me, where it kind of the greatness kind of ends. Again, not that Muscle of Love isn't good, it is, but I think that was a band kind of falling apart at the seams. But I think on $1 Billion Babies, of course, this is the mobile fidelity version here. This, again, there have been times I have claimed this is my favorite Alice Cooper group album. This came out in February 1973. So when you really look at it, those 4 albums, boom, 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 they were just cranking them out. And again, Bob Ezrin at the production helm, hello, hooray, let the show begin. I mean, it's just so good, right? Just totally takes you in, and then right into Raped and Freezing. Elected is one of their great anthems. It's just so good. The title track is so heavy, right? That kind of evil Alice vocal, but kind of playful at the same time. So good. Unfinished Suite is classic. No More Mr. Nice Guy is one of the great little guitar licks of all time and one of the most memorable rock songs of this era. Just so good. What an anthem. Generation Landslide is just monumental. Then now we get back to the kind of like the more, gothic type stuff. Sick Things, Mary Ann, and I Love the Dead. I mean, boom, boom, boom at the end of this album. It doesn't get much better than that. I love it. I love this 4-album run. I really do. And like I said, you got some good stuff on here too. I just don't think this is cohesive an album as any of the 4 that came before it. And again, it just kind of sounds like things are like behind the scenes not doing good. Glenn's health is terrible by this point in time, and he's, from what I've read, he's barely on this album, and the rest of the band are kind of like, they're just kind of splitting apart the seams, and Alice, of course, is ready to go on and do big things on his own away from the guys. I think the record labels and everybody, his management has been like, yeah, you know what, we can take you and really go places, right? It's been great what you did with these guys, but we need to kind of move on, which is a shame because as great as like the Alice solo stuff is, it's like I hate that this band didn't continue a little longer than they did, because when you really think about it, it wasn't all that long, because Muscle of Love was late 73. Like I said, the first album was mid 69, so it's not a lot of years. And really, when you think about it, Love It to Death was March of 71, and School's Out was June of 72. $1 Billion Babies was February 73. So you're talking 2 years were the peak Alice Cooper group years. Not a long period of time. So, but yeah, I look at these 4. This is right up there with, the 4 great ones in a row from Zeppelin. Zeppelin's got probably more than that. Sabbath too's got a long run. Some of the classic Aerosmith albums in a row, right? There's some of those great, like, lengthy runs where you had, 3, 4, 5 albums in a row that are just absolutely killer. These 4 have to rank up there. Just so good. So, I've been, thinking about it with the news of the new album coming out and the new song. It's like I've been revisiting these classics and thinking, geez, this is some classic era music right here. So that's kind of the theme of this episode. So for those of you who are fans of Alice Cooper, and specifically the original group, as you're, like me, anticipating that new album coming out, Let us know what you think of these four specifically. And I know we have fans on the channel who love those first two albums, right? They swear by these and like this better than anything else. Believe it or not, I've seen plenty of comments over the years, people who like these two albums better than anything they did afterwards. I personally, I don't see it at all, but it's a band, it's an informative stage. But specifically on this video, I'm asking you guys to kind of really, really talk about what these albums mean to you. Which one do you favor of the four? Do you feel all four are classics like I do? And what kind of memories do you have of the original Alice Cooper group, and specifically this 2-year period here? So thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page, our channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options all down below. Thanks everybody for your support. It's greatly appreciated. We'll see you soon here with more stuff. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.